We'll start with, let's see. I think we're going to start with Tennessee, Arkansas. Like, that's probably the most non-consequential game, right? And we are officially live. Welcome in, everyone, as you start to pour in. I've got my good friends here from Saturdays in the SEC, a great sports podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Carden and Cameron, what's going on, everyone? How we doing today? You guys good?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
It's going to be one hell of a college football weekend. Is this the best weekend of college football? Like, I of course, rivalry week, right? That's like the best, but I think this is a pretty close second, right?
Yeah, this is a contender for sure. It's up there.
Yeah, we got some banger games.
I also thought Week 5 was fun as well.
Yeah, those two.
Week 5 was pretty good too. Yeah. All right, so by the way, let me know if you guys can hear anything in my background. I have a good amount of company over, and I think they're getting some breakfast together. But anyways, let's talk about Tennessee, Arkansas. What are y'all's thoughts? I'll start with Carden. What do you got in this game, man? Because obviously Arkansas has got that coup going on with good old Bobby Petrino taking over the whole facility. I think that's hilarious. But offensively, what do you think they're going to look like today?
Over under, so it's showing there at 68.5. I got it on my book right now at 67.5. I actually took it at 68. I really like the over. Arkansas just did away with a lot of their offensive coaching staff, their defensive coaching staff. Their defense hasn't been great anyway. You know, got Bobby Petrino in there. I think their offense is going to take some shots today. I think we're going to see some things we haven't seen. Tennessee's ranked 14th in total defense in the SEC.
We close that window.
They're 32nd in nation in total defense. Arkansas is 4th in total offense in the SEC. Arkansas is 16th in total defense. So Tennessee is 2nd in total offense, 6th in total offense in the country. I don't think that any of these defenses are going to be able to stop a leaky faucet today. So give me the totals on this game over 67, 68.5. I like it. I like it to be a high scoring game.
What do you think of that, Cameron?
On the line, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's rich for sure, but we talked about on our podcast. I don't think either defense probably going to get a ton of stops. I mean, I definitely would trust Tennessee's defense to get a few more stops, and I think they will. But I could see Arkansas keeping it within the number. I'm not going to take it, but because too many unknowns for me. But as Carden said, they let go their entire defensive staff pretty much, and that was already really bad. So I don't really see that improving over the bye week, over the transition, if you will. I think Tennessee's going to light it up. Joey Aguilar, I think, is going to have a field day against that Arkansas defense. But I think Arkansas is going to get theirs too, like a super dynamic quarterback. If Taylor Green can protect the football, not have any, really bad turnovers, I think Arkansas can keep this game pretty close. I would expect a lot of fireworks as well.
Yeah, look, if there's one thing that Bobby Petrino knows how to do, it's how to put points on the board, right? So, I mean, even though this game's on the road and whatnot, I absolutely think that this game is going at least closer to that 60 number. Definitely could be into the 70s. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. This is going to be an action-packed game. Probably, I'd say out of all the games we're going to look at today, I think this is probably the highest scoring of all of them. But let's talk about probably one of the lowest scoring today, in my opinion, this Florida-Texas A&M game. I will actually, as you can see here, I've got my Gators polo on. I will be attending this game in person. And as a non-Gators fan going to support the Florida Gators, I'm very nervous to see what this version of DJ Lagway looks like. So what do you guys think about what A&M can do versus this Florida offense that Texas just, quite frankly, was not able to do last week?
Cam, go ahead.
Honestly, it really depends on what version of Florida we get. If we get the previous version, I don't think this game will be that close. But honestly, I think we're going to get more of the version we saw a week ago. I think Florida can keep it within the number. I think we're going to get a mixed bag today. I think you'll get, a couple high-scoring games. I think you're going to get a good bit of low-scoring games, though. And I think, like you said, this is going to be one of them. I think possessions will be at a premium. I want to see Florida lean on their run game again, or if they can do that, because they didn't do it enough early in the season. And last week they were able to lean on it, has some success. I mean, Jaden Ball had more carries last week than he had the previous 2 games before that against LSU and Miami. So I'd like to see that get established. And I think if we get the version of Florida, I think that's a top 15 or 20 team if we get that version again. This is about the time of the year they kind of start to find themselves. So we'll see if they can do again this year what they did last year.
Yeah, hey, man, Billy Napier, by the way, on the hot seat, might just be as good as Nick Saban. Am I right? I mean, the second that his job comes into question, this guy is like, I'm going to cook up the best game plan you've ever seen. By the way, Jaden Ball, 27 carries and then 3 receptions. So he had 30 touches last week for 123 combined yards and a touchdown. Looks like he's probably the key to success here for Florida. But Carden, what do you think about this game? Where are you sitting at for A&M Florida?
I like Florida to keep it close. I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points. Lately, the last few games, Texas A&M's kind of been playing with their food offensively, it seems. Their defense has been fantastic. In the same way with Florida, their defense has been fantastic as well. And like Cam just mentioned, I think their offense has found something. So I think being at Kyle Field is a little too much to ask Florida to go get a win. So I think Texas A&M finds a way to win this game because they are a gritty bunch and they are a good football team, but they've left opportunities out on the field. So I think that Texas A&M finds a way to win this game, but I think Florida keeps it close and probably keeps it within the numbers of field goal game, something along those lines is what I'm feeling. So Florida plus 7.5. Some of the books have it at Florida plus 6.5 now. So the line, there's some Florida money coming in, it seems.
Yeah.
So I agree with the public, it looks like right now.
Yeah, as we can see here on the doinksports.com website, we've got Florida 7.5 up here on BetMGM, but here at ProfitX and some other places, the line is moving down to plus 7. There's definitely some money starting to pour in on Florida. So my thoughts about this game is I told my dear friend who's here to actually go and watch the Gators as like a diehard Gators fan. I said there's like a 33% chance that I think Florida can win this game. There's like a 33% chance that they can keep it close. But then I think there's a 33% chance that Texas A&M just comes in and blows them out of the water. You know, what I kind of think this game looks like to me is a lot like the Auburn Texas A&M game, right? I mean, I think Florida's defense, I mean, look at what they've been able to do recently versus some preseason hyped top tier offenses, right? I mean, LSU, their offense only scored 13, right? Because they had that defensive pick 6. Miami scored 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter of that game. Overall, I think they held Miami to 12 or 13 points early on in that game. And then Texas, put up some garbage time points in that game versus Florida. So, I mean, this Florida defense is really underrated in my opinion. I mean, just look what Byron Brown and USF did last night, right? What did they score? Like 69 points?
Yeah, that's an electric in the second half.
Yeah, so I mean that's an electric offense in my opinion, and the Gators were able to hold them to 18, albeit they should have won that game, right? But I do think that Florida's defense is good enough to keep them competitive, and all they really need is 3 or 4 splash plays to keep this game at around I think 13-17 is probably my ideal score prediction. So I like the Florida plus 7.5 as well. I don't think that A&M, what they've shown me recently is they don't have enough explosive firepower to pull away from some of these games. I do like Fravor. I love Casey Concepcion. I love Le'Veon Moss. But versus Auburn, that offense was really alarming to me. And I think Auburn's defense they're not the same, but they're similarly talented in my opinion. So, and
that 31 number from last week, that's a little inflated. That does not prove how well their offense played at all.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say too, with A&M is the penalties. I think that's one thing to watch today. That's been a big issue for them so far, is them being undefeated. They played well, like Carden said, left some out on the table a little bit in some games, but I'm curious to watch the penalties and if they can kind of start to clean that up. If they do, I think they'll have a better chance to cover this number. But if they're double digit in penalties like they've been a lot this year, I think it bodes well for Florida.
Yeah, that game versus Auburn, by the way, was a slop fest of penalties.
Yes.
But we're gonna, you know what? Let's talk about the Auburn Tigers because they have quite the exciting game tonight versus Georgia. 4-point spread here. And you know what? Me personally, I believe in the magic of Jordan Hare. I'm calling outright upset tonight. I think Auburn gets it done, but I want to know y'all's thoughts first because I know Carden as an Auburn fan. I know the last 2 weeks have been really depressing. So give me your insight. Let me know what you think first, and then Cameron, we'll go to you after that.
I mean, yeah, the Jordan Hare curse or whatever, the crazy things that go on in there, the voodoo that happens in there. Yeah, whatever. That usually only works if your offense can run. Get a couple of first downs, convert a third down or two. That really helps the voodoo happen. So there's been nothing I've seen the last few weeks offensively that gives me any belief that Auburn can go in here and even compete with Georgia. Not acting like this is the 22, 23, or 21, 22 Georgia defense. Like this Georgia defense, it's gettable for sure, but the way Auburn's offense has been operating, I don't see it happening. I think this will be another low-scoring game. I'd like the under 46.5. If you want to have a same-game parlay, I don't care what the spread gets up to. If it stays single-digit, hammer Georgia. I think Georgia is going to be able to pull away. I think that they're more battle tested than Auburn is, and they've had better games than Auburn has. They've looked better against better teams. So that they went into Neyland and handled that. I know it's a night game in Jordan Hare, but I don't think it's going to be too much for them. They didn't have a single false start at Neyland. I don't think the noise is going to be too much. I think they're going to get what's theirs. They're probably going to out physical Auburn. I can see why people are thinking Auburn potentially if they can get something going on offense. I just don't believe that they will. So I like Georgia to cover -4. I got them on my book early -3. I know I'm an Auburn fan picking against my own team, but I also like money. I'll be happy to lose those bets. Obviously, if Auburn wins, I will not be upset about that at all. I'm going to be pulling for Auburn. I'm going to be pulling against my bets, but I also know when there's free money out there, I'm going to go take it. So I would say Georgia covers anything up to a touchdown, and I like the under 46.5 here.
All right, Cameron, let's see what you got.
I think for Auburn to have a chance to win this game, I think their defense got to come up with a couple turnovers. I mean, Auburn's defensive front's really disruptive, so I think whether that's a strip sack on Gunnar Stockton, getting an interception or two, I think they got the defensive, basically the defensive score against Texas A&M. I think they're going to need one or two of those tonight to set their offense up with some easier scores in the red zone. Obviously, Auburn's going to have to hit some plays down the field. This Georgia defense is really tough to run on. I will say, though, Georgia doesn't have a super high pressure rate. Like, they're not getting to the quarterback near what you would expect a Georgia defense to. So, maybe that allows Jackson Arnold to have some time to throw it down the field to Cam Coleman. Like I said, if he's one-on-one, throw it to him. I don't care who Georgia's got on him. If it's one-on-one or, hell, if it's two-on-one, throw it to him too. They got to take some shots and not get sacked, 8 or 10 times in this game. Because, like I said, Georgia hadn't been getting to the quarterback that well. So I think it's close. I'm like y'all. I think the under hits, but I would definitely side with Georgia in this one. But if Auburn kept it close or pulled an upset, I wouldn't be shocked at that either. But their defense, I think, is going to have to aid their offense a little bit in setting them up, either a defensive score or setting them up in the red zone.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the difference here tonight is exactly what you pointed out there between this Texas A&M game and the Oklahoma game. Georgia, in the games that I've watched them versus Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama, have not really been able to put consistent pressure on the quarterback. And that's quite frankly been probably, Carden, would you agree that that's probably the weakest part of Auburn's offense, the fact that they just cannot protect Jackson Arnold?
And when he does have time, he won't let it go.
Yeah, so I think what Hugh Freeze has learned, especially off the bye week, is that the most effective part of Auburn's game is that short game with Eric Singleton, right? He has been pretty efficient in some spots, right? It's not like Auburn has found some secret weapon here, but in some spots, that short game with Singleton, I think has been really effective. I think Auburn's got to hit those passes early, get Georgia's defense spread out, and then start to use the run with Jeremiah Cobb and try to force Georgia into a slugfest, very similarly to what they did with Oklahoma, Texas A&M. If you went back and watched those games, right, you think they're not close. Oklahoma, Texas A&M played significantly better than Auburn. Yet to me, they lost both those games by one score, and late in the fourth quarter had the ball in their hand to go and win the game. Now, obviously, they didn't do it, but I think the difference between those games and this one, Georgia's defense is not as good as Oklahoma's or A&M's. Auburn is at home, and they're off a bye. And I think this Georgia team is probably Kirby's worst team since 2020, since the COVID year. So I think there's a lot of things that kind of play into Auburn's favor. I'm officially calling an outright upset. I know you guys probably don't feel the same.
I hope you're right.
I'm kind of dead in the middle of you guys, honestly. Like I'm not so bold, I guess, to call an outright upset, but I'm more optimistic than Carden is, I think, about his own team. So I'm kind of splitting you guys in the middle, to be honest.
Yeah. So I've already had this vision, and I can see it right now. A crisp post-Thanksgiving Saturday afternoon, getting a nice pork butt ready for number 11 Auburn hosting number 3 Alabama for the Iron Bowl and a spot in the college football playoffs.
Man, don't be talking like that now. I don't like that.
Look, if Auburn's able to rattle off wins against Georgia, Missouri, and then followed up with not losing another game until potentially Alabama, I mean, what turnaround of the century? We're not even talking about 2012 and 2013 no more. We're not talking about that turnaround. We're talking about the end turnaround performance that Hugh Freeze did in 2025. I would love to see it, but there's been nothing in the last 3 years that's given me any evidence that that's going to happen.
Hey, you know what? That's fair enough. I'm basically predicting a Billy Napier type turnaround here for the Auburn Tigers. I think if they beat Georgia, right, it makes every other game just look so much more, I guess, winnable, right?
You're not wrong. I agree with your vision. I just don't see us getting to your vision.
And that's so fair, bro. It's gonna be quite the mountain. And honestly, it's the steepest right now versus Georgia. So we'll wait and see for that game. It's gonna be going on at the same time as this Florida A&M game. But let's move into the early slate, and we'll get to mine and Cameron's team, the Alabama Crimson Tide, taking on the Missouri Tigers. Now, I think, Carden here with Auburn was a little more skeptical. Cameron, a little more optimistic. I have a feeling the script's going to flip here. Carden's going to be more optimistic. Cameron, a little more skeptical. Let's start with Cameron here. What do you think about Alabama versus Missouri?
It's like you talked to us before this, but we didn't. So I don't know how you guess that, but you hit that pretty well.
I figured as much.
I tell you what, I mean, I look at this game, it reminds me of the spot that Auburn had going to Texas A&M a couple weeks ago with the favorable schedulability of Missouri in this game. I mean,
yeah,
they're coming off a bye. They played UMass before the bye, who is literally, them and Kent State are actually playing today. Probably the toilet bowl, the two worst teams in the country. I mean, absolutely terrible. So
back-to-back bye weeks, basically.
Yes, I'm counting that totally as back-to-back bye weeks. So this Missouri team is literally as fresh as you can possibly be in week 7 of the college football season. Like, you cannot be fresher than this Missouri team. They have not left Columbia all year. They've slept in their own bed since August, since the season started. So the spot makes me nervous, and to be honest, I woke up a couple times last night thinking about that stretch run of Eli Drinkwitz and Ahmad Hardy and what they can do. So I'm definitely a little nervous about this for sure. I mean, I've heard the trap game talk. Like, this is no trap game. Like, this is it's a top 15 team on the road. I do think their stats are a little bit inflated just because of the level of competition they played, but still, this is still a really good football team. I think their strengths can attack Alabama's weaknesses. I think that's why it makes me a little nervous with Missouri's run game. So on Alabama's offensive side, I think this is a team up front like Missouri can get after you. Like I think they'll get after Alabama more than Georgia was able to. Honestly, they've got some really good pass rushers. They have a higher pressure rate so far, albeit against some weaker competition. But I think this is going to be a high scoring type of game. I took the over at 51.5. I see it's at 52.5 now. But I think Ty Simpson can have some success against this secondary. So I think points are going to be scored. I will say it gives me confidence with Alabama, the way they've made in-game adjustments the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Particularly defensively, gives me confidence. The way Ty Simpson, they're protecting the football, only 1 turnover so far this year. So I'm very, very nervous about it. I could see it going either way, but I'll lean Alabama. I did take them at 2.5 a little bit earlier in the week.
Nice. All right, Carden, let's hear it. I know you're probably predicting a blowout, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I like Bama big here, and the reason being is because of where they're at this point in the season. Cam just mentioned they haven't left Missouri yet. Missouri has not left their own home stadium. Bama's gone on the road to a hostile Georgia and handled it well. They went on the road early week 1, got the loss, but they learned from it. They're a much better team since then. This is a much more battle-tested team than Missouri. I got it right here. Missouri this year so far, up to this point, the teams they've played have a combined 11-16 record with no ranked wins. The teams that Bama has played has a combined 17-9 record with 2 ranked wins. Bama's a three-point favorite. I like Bama to cover that. I like Bama to win by double digits. I don't like it to be just a super high-scoring game. I think it's the under 52 is gonna be under 52.5. I think it's somewhere around 34-10, 34-14, somewhere along those lines, 30-14. I don't see. I do know Ahmad Hardy is very good. Yes, I get it, but Missouri hasn't been able to win a super, super big game in quite some time. They haven't been able to really ever run the ball dominantly against Alabama in the recent years that I can remember. This Alabama defense is very good. Ahmad Hardy's going to get his, but I don't think it's going to be just such a game-changing performance where he's going to run for 3 or 4 touchdowns. I don't see that happening. I like Bama to dominate this game. Bama can sling the ball around the yard. They can run it enough. They proved last week they went over 140 yards rushing as a team. So I think Bama's a more complete team and a more proven team at this point. Missouri can come out and then they can prove all I'm saying is wrong. But up to this point, why bet against Alabama when they've proven me wrong every time I bet against them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Bama until they prove me wrong. They did prove me wrong in week 1, but they proved me wrong a lot more times than they have proved me right.
Yeah. Okay, so my thoughts about this game here, real quick. I want to get y'all's take on this. So Missouri right now is a top 10 scoring offense. Their defense is top 10 in pass yards allowed. They're top 15 in sack percentage. They are, I believe, number 1 in the country in time of possession. They're top 5 in rush yards per game, top 5 in yards per carry per game. They have not really played anyone of note. I was really impressed with that South Carolina win, although South Carolina's been, fairly disappointing so far this season. But I am predicting not only a blowout, I'm predicting a murder. An absolute, I'm talking a bludgeoning, that the likes of which we have not seen in the SEC this year. Alabama versus SEC teams that they are really supposed to win that aren't physical, or aren't physical on defense, I will say. Offensively, Missouri, to me, seems very one-dimensional. Now, Bo Perbula has played good when they've really asked him to, but they have yet to play Alabama's secondary, which I think we talked about this in the early parts of the preseason here. I thought Alabama's secondary was the best in the country. And I still think that, right? I mean, they have shut down the pass game. Look at the last 3 games: Wisconsin, Georgia, Vanderbilt. Out of the 14, 21, and 14 points that have been scored, I believe one of those came on a special teams touchdown. And then 3 of those remaining 4 scores came off of massive busted plays. Missouri, to me, does not have the big play ability of a Georgia or a Vanderbilt. And I think that Alabama is going to key in on this run, even though they've been really weak against the run so far this season. I think Missouri's a little one-dimensional. This kind of reminds me of the spot last year that Missouri was in on the road versus Alabama. Now, given the fact that who'd they start versus Alabama last year? Was it Drew Pine?
Drew
right?
Pine. Yes, I've had my discussions about Drew Pine. Yeah. He's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is.
They were dead on arrival in that game. I mean, they were dead as soon as they got on the plane to come to Alabama because Drew Pine was not going to win one-on-one.
Yeah,
this was not. I mean, he was literally atrocious. Honestly, all respect to him, but
it was really bad. I think we watched Luther Burden in the first quarter quit on the team in that game because he was like, "There's no way you're going to be able to get me the ball more than 5 yards down the field, and if you do get me the ball at all, I'm going to get crushed by 4 unblocked Alabama defenders. So I'm just not going to catch the ball." So. Anyways, my logic with this game is Alabama, like Carden said, is extremely battle-tested. On the road, they have already seen probably the 2 most hostile environments that they'll see all season long in Florida State and Georgia. Man, maybe Auburn's got a better crowd than Florida State, but that Florida State stadium in week 1 was rocking. So I don't think Missouri's going to be able to, get Ty Simpson rattled with their crowd. Their pass rush is better than Georgia's, but I don't think it's leaps and bounds better. I think statistically they've been able to tee off against Louisiana, Lafayette, and UMass and whatnot. So maybe the statistics are a little more inflated. Lenore Sellers, again, when South Carolina came to town, didn't look bad. He played the whole game in that game, correct? That was the week off the concussion. He didn't look terrible against Missouri, but I think their offense played a bigger factor in controlling the game. I just don't think they'll be able to do that versus Alabama. My official pick is Alabama minus 13.5 plus 295. If you're really feeling bold, if you're feeling frisky today and you want to try to make some real money, I'm thinking that I might do this myself and take Alabama minus 23.5 plus 740. But look, this is either going to be I have
man, y'all are way more confident than I am, man. I'm nervous, man. I hope you're right, bro. I hope you're right, man.
This is either going to make me look like a genius or an absolute gump fool, and we shall see. I really don't think this Missouri team is chalked up to win this game.
I'll ride with you, man. I'll hop on the books right now. I'll ride with you.
That's what I like to hear. Let's freaking ride, man.
I did cook up a 5-leg parlay for this game particularly, so I got Alabama at 2.5. I took the over because I think the run fits with Alabama's linebackers and secondary is going to be key because, like you said, the big plays they're giving up are on the ground against Georgia, against Vandy. I think that's key. Like y'all said, I do think Missouri's going to get theirs, though, so I took the over. I think these are absolute locks. Ty Simpson, 2+ touchdowns, hammered that. He's been over 2 or more in every game. I took Jeremy Bernard over 57.5 yards, and I took Isaiah Horton over 38.5 yards. I think those are locks. Both those guys have hit those in every game except one. So I threw that as part of a 5-leg parlay to win. I think close to $200, I believe. So
nice.
So I do like that. Did like some player props in this game because I think Alabama's going to be able to throw the football on them. I do think Missouri's going to score some, so I think Alabama's offense is going to have to match that and then some. So I like it, boys. I hope so. Like I said, I told Carden, I said the thing about these SEC games, I'm like, I kind of just go in expecting it to be close. Then if it's bigger than that, obviously for Alabama's sake, it's a bonus. But almost every game, like I'm taking a lot of teams to cover the number today. So that's just kind of my mindset this year. It's just we're so balanced across the league, across college football.
Yeah.
So I kind of just go in expecting it to be 1-score games for the most part.
Yeah, this is truly turning into like an any Saturday type. I mean, it's almost like the NFL. I mean, obviously, Missouri playing UMass, right? I mean, that's never going to happen at home. But, I mean, Penn State losing to UCLA with no head coach, no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator. The guy calling plays, never called plays in his life, forgot to press the button on a 4th down in the 4th quarter. And Nico Iamaleava calling his own play on 4th down and converting. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I don't think we'd see that in any other era of college football. So I love where college football is at. Player props wise, by the way, I love Horton here over 4.5 catches. Like I'm looking at this target share here. He's continuously gone up in his targets. You know, obviously with Florida State, him being a transfer in, he's got to get better enmeshed with the offense. But, you know, I've seen that Simpson started, or maybe not even Simpson, but maybe Ryan Grubb started calling his number a lot more recently. I mean, like he's averaging over his last 3 games, I think 7 targets a game, 5 catches. So I like it. I think in a big game like this, which I do think this is a big game, even though I'm calling a blowout here. I think Alabama takes this game very seriously. I think they'll lean on Horton in the pass game a little bit. Love Jeremy Bernard, by the way. Anything over receptions, over yards, doesn't matter, man. This guy, in my opinion, let me know what y'all think about this. I think Jeremy Bernard's the best receiver for Alabama. Better than Ryan Williams.
I think he might be the best receiver in the country, if I'm being 100% honest with you, dude. He's up there with Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
He's just so reliable and so consistent. You know what I mean? And they use him some in the run game too, like kind of like a gadget player, you know, like you've seen different guys, you know, they've handed the ball to him in the back. You'll see him line up in the backfield and then they'll motion him out. They use him a lot of different ways. I think it just shows the trust they have in him too and how consistent
he was. A big part in the Georgia game.
Yeah, massive factor in the Georgia game. And, you know, 2 things. Obviously, he's way more familiar with this system than anybody else with Alabama, right? You know, he was with Grubb and DeBoer at Washington and transfers. Right. So I think this is his 4th year in the system. So, I mean, he's very familiar with it. But he reminds me a lot of Deebo Samuel early on with the 49ers. You know, they used him at tailback. They used him in those those double back sets in the backfield. A lot of screens, jet sweeps, and whatnot. And Deebo at that time was a top 5 receiver in the league, right? So that DeBoer system, I wouldn't call it West Coast, but I mean it's pretty close to that West Coast system where you are using a ton of motion to ID defenses. You are trying to, in some shape, way, or form, maybe not establish the run game, but make defenses bite on the play action. Get your quarterback rolling out like Simpson has been, and then have him effectively hit receivers on the outside of the field, not necessarily over the middle. So as much hate, I think we talked about this in the preseason. I can't stand Kalen DeBoer. To this day, I'm having my issues with him. All my hate would go away if I just saw him wear a polo on the sideline. But that's just me. Sick and tired of the hoodies.
The black hoodie vibes, man, the vibes are up in the black hoodie. I'm telling you, man, he's a different man. He gets that black hoodie on.
I know.
That's his fit. Hey, I got it right here, baby. DeBoer Oates. That's right. This shirt from last year, man. I'm riding with him. He's getting his feet under him. He's getting confident. He's in his black. Hey, we get our brains beat in when he wears the polos. I'm with you. I like the polo look better for sure. I mean, it makes you look better. But man, I mean, if he's got to strip down his birthday suit for us to win games, so be it. We're rolling with a black hoodie.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah, I definitely think that this Alabama team is absolutely getting its feet under them, and I think all the credit kind of goes to Ty Simpson. He is the DeBoer style quarterback, right? He fits the scheme way better than Jalen Milroe did. He reminds me so much of Michael Penix. AJ McCarron type vibes. I mean, the way he throws the ball is just gorgeous. I think he's starting to play himself into some serious draft prospect conversations, right? I mean, I don't think anybody had him on a draft board in the top 3 rounds before the season.
He'll be on a award watch list at the end of the year. He'll be on a award watch list at the end of the year. Yeah,
100%. Like right now, I think he's 4th in the Heisman odds. And I mean, I thought honestly that this would be a season where Alabama's offense would get a get-right season, and next year maybe they can compete for like an actual national title. But I think the national title's in the conversation right as of right now, right? I mean, today ask me at the end of the day what I think if the Alabama loses. I'm saying we need to fire DeBoer, get him out of here. So, anyways, we talked a lot about Bama, Missouri. Let's move on and let's talk about this LSU South Carolina game, which it seems like LSU should run away with this game with the way that South Carolina has been playing recently. But this LSU offense has been disappointing is an understatement. What do y'all think of this LSU offense and what's gone wrong for them?
Go ahead, Cam.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, they just can't run the ball at all. I mean, that's been a problem even going back to last year. They've completely struggled to run the ball against anybody. I mean, you look against Southeast Louisiana. I don't think they're in the but against FBS opponents, the most they've scored is 24 or 23, I believe it is. So, yeah, I mean, they just can't run the ball. You know, Garrett Nussmeier, you know, just has a lot on his plate, number one. But I think going back to last year, there's just a play or two a game where it's like that throw can't happen. You know what I mean? And if he can kind of eliminate those, I think that'll help him. But there's just been a play or two a game where you're like, man, why are you throwing that ball? You know, like you're experienced enough not to throw that into traffic. So I think it's been a few things. The offensive line maybe, you know, lost a couple tackles from last year. It has probably struggled a little bit. So, yeah, don't really have balance. So, I think South Carolina with their defense, they're with Dylan Stewart, the passer. I think they can keep this game close. I'm curious to see though if LSU's rectified anything over the bye. But yeah, this is a huge game for both teams. But I think we're going to kind of trend towards the under in this game as well.
I agree with that. I think there's not going to be many points scored, so I like the under here. But I also like South Carolina to cover. Like Cam said, LSU's offense is just not able to put points up. You know, the way we expected coming into the year, there was a lot of national championship talk around, you know, when Nussmeier decided to return. But like he said, he's been throwing the ball into traffic, making some bad decisions at times. So they don't have great protection, but they definitely cannot run the football for the second year in a row. I mean, they have no identity in the run game whatsoever. Their defense is extremely good, but South Carolina has Lenore Sellers, who I think is one of the most talented, if not the most talented quarterback in the SEC. Doesn't mean he's the best, but talent-wise, he can do it all. I think they're going to at least be able to get in the end zone a time or two, get themselves favorable positions, come away with field goals. They're going to get their points. I think LSU is as well, so I like a lower-scoring game, but I like South Carolina to keep it within the number.
Yeah, I like the under as well. I think the two things that I'm thinking about for this game, number one is the fact that, like you guys have both said, LSU cannot run the ball to save their lives. And it's so interesting to me that they can't, because it's such a far cry away from any Brian Kelly Notre Dame team, right? I mean, the thing that got them so much success at Notre Dame was the fact that they were physical on the line of scrimmage, and they basically just could run all over you, unless, of course, they were playing Alabama or Clemson, and that was it, right?
When you're playing Northwestern, it's a little different.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, in the SEC, it is indeed a little different. But I'm just shocked that LSU really hasn't – the offensive linemen they've recruited. I mean, even think about last year, right? Will Campbell, Emory Jones, two of the best tackles in college football, but not run blockers. I mean, you could see that even in their transition to the NFL. Will Campbell is not doing well trying to run block defensive linemen right now. So I'm shocked that Brian Kelly hasn't fit his his personnel with his scheme, because he tried. Like, it's not that they're not trying to run the football. I mean, Caden Durham this season, let me go look at his player stats here. He's run the ball, let's see, a fair amount of times. Now, obviously that game versus Southeastern Louisiana, I think he got benched in the second quarter when LSU went up like 35 points, but you know, 15, 13, 17, 13, and Juwan Johnson also, you know, has got a fair share of carries. I mean, they're running the ball, you know, 20 plus times a game. They just can't convert anything into some positive plays. And so I think, number one, that is the concern for me. I think Dylan Stewart, like Cameron said, might have a field day here teeing off on LSU's pass game. Nussmeier always somehow blows my mind and makes that decision that you look at and you think, my God. I mean, it's kind of like Jalen Milroe last year, right? You kind of win and you die by Milroe. I think Nussmeier is kind of the same way. I mean, he can make the wow play, but at the same time, the very next play could be just an absolute dot to the opposing team's cornerback. Just doesn't make any sense. But the second thing that I want to talk about in this game is I think Lenoris Sellers is going to struggle passing the football. This LSU secondary, to me, is, I think elite is an understatement. They have proven to me time and time again that they can clamp some of the best. I mean, maybe not even some of the best. I mean, Ole Miss only scoring 24 points. That's probably a top 5 scoring offense in the country right now. I thought that was an extremely impressive game by LSU's defense. 5 interceptions versus Florida, holding I know Clemson's been very disappointing, but holding them to 10 points at home without getting any tape on them either, to me is pretty impressive. So I think Sellers is gonna have a tough spot in this game. However, the splash play ability for South Carolina, the fact that this over-under is at 44, I like South Carolina +9 as well. If that line was at 10.5, I'd love it even more just to get that extra little piece of juice there. But I digress. Cameron, your final thoughts on, do you think South Carolina can compete in this game not passing the football? Do you think they can run it on LSU's defense?
I think they can get some quarterback runs on them. I think that's really the main reason I like the +9, and I think South Carolina's got a chance in this game. I think you're both teams are coming off buys, but if you're South Carolina, Lenoris was banged up a little bit early. Now he's fresher. You're coming off a bye. And what does this LSU struggle with over the last couple of years? Mobile quarterbacks. I mean, you look what Jalen Milroe did not play better against anybody than he did against LSU. Like, that was the best team he played against his whole college career, both games against them, which I know this is a better LSU defense, certainly. But, you saw what Trent had Champions. Like, I thought that was a smart decision to start him, even if Austin Simmons was healthy, because, like, his mobility, like, he didn't have a ton of rushing yards in this game, but his mobility really played a factor in it. And I definitely think Lenoris Sellers running the football, whether it's designed runs, they just got to have that threat. LSU or South Carolina has to have that threat of him running, of him keeping it on some of those zone reads where they do some sprint outs, some bootlegs. I definitely think they've got to get him outside the pocket a little bit, have that threat of him running. And I think they can get enough on the ground, like you guys said, to keep it within the number here and have a shot here at LSU.
Yeah. All right. So this is my favorite game of the day. Not LSU, South Carolina, but the game we're going to talk about now. Red River, baby. This game I'm probably the most fired up for. John Mateer, 17 days off of broken hand surgery, is going to play in this game, it looks like. Is he official? Have you guys seen any reports about that? I saw he got upgraded to probable. Is he playing
I
today?
expect him to play.
I expect him to play as well. I'm actually going to do a quick Google search while we're just sitting here. Let's see. Latest status. I want something on Twitter, I guess. They'll probably have the best. But y'all go ahead and talk about this game. Carden, I'll start with you. What do you think is going to go down in this game, given that John Mateer should be playing today?
Again, I like the under in this game, under 44.5. I like Oklahoma to cover and win because I think that this is going to be a defensive game. Oklahoma's got the best defense I've seen in college this year. Texas is right up there with them. Both these defenses are phenomenal. I think the offense is going to have to look a little bit different with Mateer. They're probably not going to want to run him as much to keep his hand and thumb out of danger, but I think he's going to have to at times. We've seen the struggles that Texas has had offensively with their offensive line and with their quarterback. So I think that Oklahoma has the bump everywhere on the roster right now, and I think their defense is better. So I think it's a low-scoring ball game. I think Oklahoma has a higher chance to be successful on offense because of who they have at quarterback. He played the rest of the Auburn game and completed 11 out of 11 passes after he broke his thumb. So he's got it surgically repaired. I think he's going to be fine to throw the football. He threw it with it broke. He can throw it with it repaired. I like Oklahoma to win. I think it's going to be, again, a low-scoring game. I think Oklahoma covers. By the way, since 2015, so dating back to 2015 through last year, the favorite has won the Red River Shootout every year except for 2. And Texas has not won back-to-back Red River Shootouts since the 2008-2009 season.
Wow.
So I like Oklahoma to win again this year. That trend stays alive. I don't think Texas goes back-to-back again. So I think that trend and that streak stays alive. I like Oklahoma to win, and I like Oklahoma to cover, obviously, because they're a dog.
Yeah, I like your thoughts on this game, Joey. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think you're going to have a hard time of both these teams score. Like I don't see either. I see both teams struggling. Both teams don't really run the ball that well. With John Mateer's side, like you said, I think he's going to be fine, but probably not 100% himself. Certainly, I'm actually going the opposite way. I'm going with Texas a little bit on the factor of it's just desperation mode.
Yeah,
I mean, we're here in early October. They've already got 2 losses. I mean, this was the season they were building for. Like, this was it. You know what I mean? Like, they've been good the last couple of years, but it's like we have Arch starting now. Like, we have I mean, I know they have some new pieces, but they have veterans on this team. Like, this was a year that they were kind of highlighting. So I think they find a way. I'm not, like, super confident in it, but I think a little bit of that factor. And I think I just don't see either team scoring that much. It might look like that. Might look like that 3-2 Mississippi State Auburn game back in the day, like it was 7-3 or something. I think this is going to be really low, honestly. I mean, I don't see more than you can never predict turnovers. Obviously, such a crazy factor that you can't ever put your finger on. But I don't see it more than 17-14 or something. Like I think it's in the 30s probably. But I'll lean Texas slightly, even though I'm not crazy confident. Their offensive line definitely scares me against this Oklahoma defense because Texas' offensive line has just not been good at all this year, which is crazy when you have the roster that Texas has and your offensive line is just not performing. But I'll go Texas in a game that sets football back about 50 years.
So here are my thoughts on this game. I think Texas, yes, they're in desperation mode. But what I have been shocked about is Steve Sarkisian's failure to win big games. I mean, he almost y'all probably remember this, but for anybody watching the stream right now, I don't know if y'all remember Texas almost blew that game to Arizona State last year. I mean, but it was 4th and 13 they had to convert. And they did. They scored a touchdown and ended up winning the game. But, I mean, you don't get that there. And you're thinking, what has Steve Sarkisian really done at Texas? He lost versus Washington in the playoff, got throttled by Georgia at home in the regular season, and then lost to them in the SEC championship game with half the game Carson Beck didn't play. I think here, Oklahoma with John Mateer, tons of momentum. They're undefeated. They're battle-tested. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Auburn, who I think are really good teams. Texas, they put up 21 points last week, but 2 of those touchdowns came relative to garbage time. I have Oklahoma winning, and I have them winning kind of big. I have them winning by 10-plus points. I think this Oklahoma defense – holistically, right? I said Alabama's got the best secondary. I think holistically, Oklahoma has the best defense in the country. Brent Venables is about to put Arch Manning in a MFing torture chamber. This is going to be Arch Manning's nightmare game. And here's my hottest take. I think Oklahoma minus 9.5 is a pretty hot take. But my hottest take right now is in 2 weeks, maybe not even 2 weeks, maybe after this game, we're going to start hearing the fire Steve Sarkisian talks. I mean, right now, I think, Texas fans are a little uncomfortable, but you drop that game to Oklahoma, you're a 3-loss team, and this was supposed to be your year. Your dream quarterback looks like a lunch pail. $60 million buyout. We saw Jimbo get that Texas money a few years ago. I think they've got it in the bag. Maybe we see.
I don't know that they do it this quick because he just went to the playoffs back-to-back years.
Yeah, that's very true. And get this, he also won 2 playoff games last year. So like he was 7 points away from going to the national championship.
Granted, so did Penn State. They won 2 playoff games last year too, and then look at Penn State this year. So you're right. It doesn't mean everything, but I don't know that they'd move on from him so fast because he got to back-to-back. And where they were before he took over, the 8 years before he took over,
that's so true. Very true.
And no, I mean your point is very well taken about the. I mean he certainly hasn't been able to get over that pinnacle, get over that hump yet. I mean really the biggest one he's had so far was coming into Tuscaloosa and beating Alabama and Nick Saban's last year in 2023. You know, you mentioned against Georgia they lost twice last year. They lost to Ohio State in the playoff. Ohio State early this year. So. Yeah, in big games, and and Carter can attest to that. I'm a huge Steve Sarkisian fan. I think he's done a great job.
I think so too.
But yeah, I just don't. You know, he hasn't been able to quite get over that hump yet, and it has certainly been very disappointing this year, so far. But yeah, I'm still going to lean with him to find a way today. I don't think either team runs the ball good at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Honestly. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not confident either which way. It's to me, even though, like I said, it could quote set the game back 50 years. Like I still think this is one of the most interesting games of the day. Like how this is going to play out. You got Texas in desperation mode, but Oklahoma's quarterback's coming back off injury like quicker than anybody anticipated. So no, it's going to be like super interesting game. Even though, like I said, it's not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing, but. They don't always have to be, it can be a really interesting game and not, be fireworks necessarily. So I'm pumped for this game at 2:30.
Yeah. So I think my thoughts, this is exactly where I thought Oklahoma would be in this spot. I thought that my preseason prediction, I had them going 5-0 to start. And then this was the game that I thought was the pivot point of their season. If they win this game, they're a college football playoff team. If they lose this game, I think they're 7-5 because they've got some really tough games later in the season. LSU, Alabama on the road, and some others as well. I think they also play Ole Miss, which Ole Miss looks way better than I thought they would. But I was dead wrong about this Texas team. I thought that they would, at worst, be 10-2. I thought 11-1 was really in the conversation given their schedule. I thought that they would lose that Florida game. I was really high on Florida at the beginning of the year. I think we all, right? You guys were high on Florida as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, Florida has really set me back. But overall, though, this is kind of where I thought Oklahoma would be. Texas in a much different spot than I thought. This to me is the pivot point for both coaches, right? Brent Venables in year 3. People are really pleased with him right now. But if he loses Texas, Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss, and, Michigan doesn't make the playoffs, Auburn doesn't make the playoffs, then you start to think, well, Oklahoma, who have you beaten over the last few years? Sure, you got that win over Alabama last year, but that wasn't a playoff team. So I don't know. I think both of these teams are looking for big success today. I mean, obviously, rivalry game. Both fan bases want to win this game more than anything, right? I guess I'm just riding. I think I just got Oklahoma in this game close. But okay, last few minutes of the stream. Let's talk about just overarching bigger or other big games going on in the college football world. We'll touch on Michigan, USC. Card, by the way, you mentioned you think Jeremy Bernard is maybe the best receiver in the country. I've got my guy, Mekhi Lemon. This guy is playing out of his freaking mind right now. I think in his last 2 games, he has a combined, let me look here. He's got a combined 19 catches, 278 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's playing otherworldly right now versus some Big Ten opponents. But y'all give me your insight on this game, if at all, anything. I haven't really studied up on this game, so I want to hear what you guys got.
I mean, I haven't studied up on it much either. I don't really like Lincoln Riley in bigger pressure games. He hasn't really done great, especially at USC. I like Michigan to win. I think they've played tougher teams, played a tougher schedule. I like Underwood. I think he's made some progression since week one. He looks a lot different than he did week one. I'd like to see them play against Oklahoma again because I think he might handle things a little differently against them. I just think they're a little more like we talked about with Bama. I think they're a little more battle tested than USC. I like Michigan to win.
Yeah, I do too. I don't have a strong lean on this game either which way, but I did in my pick'em group. I took Michigan to win this game. I think, like Carden said too, a couple road tests for Michigan early, going to OU. They went to Nebraska and won a couple weeks after that. So I think some of those road experiences and going through those early with a freshman quarterback, and obviously don't have a ton of like great skill guys around him. But Justice Haynes has been really good for this Michigan team so far, the transfer from Alabama. So, yeah, I would, like I said, not a strong lean, but I like Michigan. I'd take them outright.
So, for me, I was shocked at the fact that USC was favored in this game, especially after the egg that they laid defensively versus Illinois. I mean, this is your standard Lincoln Riley team, right? I mean, unbelievable offensively. Defensively, they're a dumpster fire per the usual. Let me look at some stats real quick. They're the number one scoring offense in the country, number one in yards per game, number one in yards per play, number one in points per play. Passing wise, they're the number three team in the country in pass yards per game. They're number 5 in yards per rush. Michigan defensively, to me, has not been as elite as they have been in the past. And I think the weak spot comes with the secondary. That pass game, or at least for opposing teams, has been fairly decent so far this year. Oklahoma got the better of them in that game. And then Nebraska, Dylan Raiola on the road looked pretty good. I'm thinking that there's going to be some points scored in this game. Over under at 56. I'm going with the over. Now, who's going to win this game? I think I lean Michigan just because Lincoln Riley just hasn't been getting it, hasn't been doing it for me recently. Man, blowing that game versus Illinois is just shocking, honestly. I say shocking, but I'm not surprised at all that they lost that game versus Illinois.
I also think Illinois is fraudulent as all get out too.
Oh, really?
Dude, they got their doors blown off by Indiana. I think Indiana's a lot better than people think they were last year.
Yeah.
They're a better Indiana team this year than they were last year, and they blew Illinois' doors off. I think it's going to be a better game. Talking about another game, I think it's going to be a better game between Oregon and Indiana today. A lot of people are thinking that Indiana's fraudulent again, just like last year. I think they're a little more legit this year than last year.
Yeah.
I like Indiana to cover the points. I don't know if I like them to win outright. I like them to cover 7.5. I got them at 7.5 earlier in the week. I also sprinkled a little bit on the money line because it's decent value, but it was like a half unit play on a money line. But I do like them to cover the 7.5.
Sharp pick. I think I posted a video earlier this week. I gotta see it to believe it, and until I do, I'm going against Indiana almost every single time. And I picked Illinois to not only cover the other week, but outright win that game that they went on the road and played that Indiana team. I was throttled, to say the least, that Indiana came out and played that great.
And that's the closest playoff caliber team they've played, and they shouldn't have even lined up against them. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was very embarrassing. Cameron, what are your quick thoughts about this game before we bounce and start watching some Alabama football?
Yeah, I'm kind of I think the line's probably about right. Honestly, kind of like Carden said. I do think Indiana keeps it pretty close. Like, by the way, like great quarterback matchup in this game. Like, both guys top 6 in the Heisman odds right now. I believe Fernando Mendoza. I mean, what a pickup!
Out of touchdown passes in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a pickup for Kirk Cignetti out of the portal. And I really like what I saw from him last year because I got to watch him some against Auburn, when they came to Jordan-Hare. And I was really impressed with him and saw some of his other games. And that's been an amazing pickup. And I definitely think Oregon wins more than just being at home. And like you said, I have a little more faith in them. But I do think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think I want to see how Oregon's able to establish their run game. early on. But no, it's gonna be a competitive game, I believe. But I'll lean Oregon to win it.
Yeah. By the way, saw this on Twitter yesterday. This isn't shocking to me just because I think that part of the game that I pay closest attention to in college football is NFL prospects. I try to scout at least 75 players every single year. This is going to be the most scouted game of the weekend, according to some college football insiders. Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, a lot of people have them 1 and 2 in the NFL draft this upcoming draft season, and I don't blame them for it. These guys are both playing out of their minds to start the year. That win for Oregon against Penn State, doesn't look as great with the loss to UCLA, but I thought that was a really gutsy win. Dante Moore played really good in that. And then Fernando Mendoza, I mean, has he made a mistake so far this season? I don't think he's thrown an interception, right? He's been brilliant.
So. I've only seen him play 2 games. I can't lie. I haven't seen every game they play. I've only seen him play twice.
I watched that Old Dominion game at the beginning of the season, and I think the score ended up being 27-13. But I'll tell y'all, that game was nowhere close to being 27-13. Indiana ran away with that game. The score obviously made it look a lot closer, but I think Indiana is leaps and bounds better than what they were last year. But I digress. It is now 11:03. We have hit the 11 o'clock window. Carden, Cameron, guys, these guys know ball, and they have a podcast on Spotify and YouTube. They're on TikTok as well. Saturdays in the SEC. What's y'all's official tag so y'all can somebody can actually find y'all? It's what, Saturdays _ in the SEC?
Yeah, on YouTube it's at Saturdays in the SEC, all one word. At Saturdays _ SEC on Twitter, and Carden's got the TikTok handle. So,
and on TikTok it's at Saturdays in the SEC with a period in between each word.
There you go, guys. Go check them out. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Carden and Cameron, I'm going to let y'all go now because I've got some house guests that want to come in and make some picks. So good luck to y'all on the wagers today. Thank y'all so much for coming in, and I promise I'll text y'all my schedule for the next week, and we'll line this up again because this is always a blast to talk ball.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having us on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. See y'all later. All right. I've got some house guests here that want to make some picks as we close out the stream here. Who's up first? Who wants to volunteer first as tribute? Mary Snellings, come on up. I'm volunteering you first. All right, just here. I'm gonna tilt the camera. Here's the microphone.
How do I stand here?
Do you literally just sit in this chair? Yep. Hop on in the chair. There you are. Go ahead. Give me.
Hi, everybody. I am picking Florida.
Florida money line. Wow.
With the game chop, I am also picking Alabama over Missouri, and I'm picking LSU go Tigers.
Well, let me tell you what, guys. If you parlay those 3 together, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that's a plus 1,000 odds parlay right now.
God, please don't.
$10 to win 100, $100 to win 1,000. Go ahead. You heard it here first from my very special house guest, Mary Snellings, Wilcox. She knows ball, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, I have my dear friend, diehard Florida Gators fan, Christian Vero. Have a seat. Got his crisp Florida Gators shirt on. Talk to me. What is your pick for the day?
What's going on? We got a couple picks here. We're going to go against the grain here and pick Texas to win over Oklahoma.
Wow.
Because John Mateer is suffering with that hand injury, I think it's going to affect his play. And they obviously had a tough loss come out of Texas had a tough loss last week against Florida. So I think Arch Manning's going to show up and they're going to come in with the big W.
Okay.
So
what a pick.
Game premiering right now, Alabama, Missouri. I got Alabama winning big points here.
Same here.
I got the minus 13.5 for plus 344, I believe. And I'm actually going to parlay that with Florida money line to get plus 1,400 with those just those 2 picks. I think it's easy money. I think that happens. I think it probably happens about 15% of the time, but you're getting about plus 1,400 odds. So in the
Yeah.
long run, you're making a ton of money.
Great pick there. Great pick, my friend. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last couple of options here. My wife, Megan, would you like to come on and make some picks?
Yeah.
Come on up. You guys are going to get a special treat here. This is my lovely wife. Have a seat. Say hello.
Hi.
All right. Would you like to make any official picks?
I don't know. I don't know ball, I fear, but I am a Bama fan.
All right.
so-
I'll just throw out.
Oh, Dad. Oh, also go Gators.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me. I'll throw out some games. You just pick a team.
Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Alabama, Missouri,
Well, Alabama,
Florida, Texas A&M,
Florida,
LSU, South Carolina.
LSU.
Okay, Oklahoma, Texas,
I don't care about that one.
Auburn,
Hands down.
Auburn,
Oklahoma.
Georgia, Auburn, Georgia.
Auburn.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. 14 parlay there. Alabama, Florida, LSU, Auburn. That right there, a plus 1,300 parlay. Chalk it up. You heard it here from the Megalodon, my lovely wife. Last but certainly not least, option here to Hunter. Would you like to sit down and make some picks?
You want me to make a gut pick?
Yeah, make a gut pick right here, right now.
Gut pick.
He's got his nice orange shirt on. He'll be rocking with the Gators as well today. Let's hear the gut pick.
All right, what are we looking at?
I'm going to throw out some games for you. You just tell me
All right,
money line
games
strictly.
are-
Yeah. Oh, let's go USC, Michigan.
This is going at USC.
At USC. USC's a 2.5-point
You
favorite.
know, I'm always skeptical about teams that have to cross the Mississippi to play games.
Yeah.
They got Bryce Underwood. I mean,
I'm looking at USC, by the way. Number 1 scoring offense, number 1 points per play, number 1 yards per play, number 1 in yards per game.
do they? How good are they at hitting the big play?
Oh, they're the best. They're the best team in the
All right.
country hitting the big play.
All right, I'm gonna take USC.
Mine-
By 7.
Oh yeah, alt play. I love it.
I'm gonna go by 7. I think that they're gonna hit a couple of deep balls, and I think Bryce Underwood's, what would you call it? His youngness will show.
Yeah,
up on
he's
the
very
day.
green on the road.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, you're an Auburn fan. I got to hear it. Will Auburn beat Georgia today?
No.
No? Yeah.
No, dude. Kirby just stomps us
Every
He's
time.
been stomping us for years. I don't.
Has
I'm
Auburn
confident.
beaten Kirby Smart?
We beat him in 2017 one time.
Wow. Okay, so 1-7 versus Kirby Smart. Not great.
He's technically beat us every single year because we lost to him in the SEC championship that year.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this stream, guys. We're going to go grab some brunch. I appreciate every single person tuning in on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. We got a Sunday stream.